Championship.
Yep, and as we look at these decks, we have the Warrior, that being the Patient Warrior, the Zoolock, and the mid-range Paladin, I believe, of Love against the mid-range Paladin, the mostly combo Druid, one Ancient Warrior there, and the Zoolock of Zoro. So pretty similar lineup. The differences being with the Druid not being the patron. And as you can see, they're both a bit tired. It's been a long 3 days for them, and they've already accomplished their goal. And you can't really blame them for, being like, what's another $5,000? Because in the back of their mind, they've accomplished what they came here to accomplish. But they have to kind of wake up in this position and realize that in the long run, $5,000 is a lot of money.
Very surprising to see Zoro advance this far. He's got 3 decks and none of them are Warrior, so he's not played Patron at all this entire tournament, which has been by far the most popular deck between all of the players.
Yeah, the thing about Patron is that it can win you. It wins a lot of the matchups, but it can lose especially if your opponent techs against it. And the biggest thing is that, yes, it's pretty consistent, but you only get to win 1 game with it. So as long as you have 3 solid decks and 3 decks that are good against what you think the field will bring, you don't really need to bring Patron, honestly.
That is true, and so in place of that, he'll be bringing a Druid as the only different deck between the 2 players. So right off the bat, Zoro going to be dropping his, I guess, a little bit more like low-cost, spammy Silverhand Recruit deck, but it does have scalability to it. It's got things like Tyrion, like Dr. Boom, and this will be up against what I can only assume is the more demon-related Zoo variant.
Yeah, that's pretty much the standard these days. We see an owl picked up. I wonder if he just goes for the owl to get the tempo play of killing off that the flame imp. Obviously, there's plenty of things that you want to be owling later, but typically you can deal with those things later on as long as you don't fall too far. Excuse me, you fall behind too far on board in the early game. So gonna go for that tempo play. It's always nice. I mean, a lot of people would save that owl, but in this instance, probably a pretty good idea to go for that.
Yeah, and then so to see all the Silverhand recruits start to flood the field, the best thing you can hope for here is, I guess, implosion, but even then they all die anyway, and you risk, well, I guess you're not risking them getting quartermastered because you're still a mana short of that, but I don't know, I guess it's all about building the field for both players, right?
Yeah, it's going to build the board as much as possible. Probably going to go for the ooze here. I don't imagine you'd want to not use it in this situation. Yes, it's just a light stress, and you could get True Silver next turn, but it's just so much tempo right here. You get to have that Knife Juggler go off, maybe kill off one of these 1/1s as well, and yeah, just so much tempo. I guess right now you're a little bit afraid of Consecration, but I think you want to get the tempo right here, maybe tap in later turns.
All right, well, as the game continues, continue to get a little bit of lag here, so be a few steps behind. We'll see what happens, but yeah, power overwhelming in hand, already able to sort of trade up against any of these higher threats coming out, but Consecration is out there and should be a good option for clearing the board.
By the way, you see Zoro knowing the interaction with Knife Juggler, knowing to attack first before he consecrates, because he knows the Knife Juggler actually does get the shot off after its death, which is kind of an interesting interaction there.
Yeah, and it does wind up killing the Silverhand recruit, so if he hadn't attacked, he would have just lost that damage. So yeah, very important to know that interaction, the little things, the things that count.
You think that count, absolutely. And he does play the Demon Zoolock, so probably something he's very familiar with, something he's gotten used to, having played so much Hearthstone over these past few days. And looks like Love's going to go all in and make this a huge Void Terror. It's going to be an 8/8. We got a giant, literal giant Void Terror, being the same stats as the other giants in the game, and kind of daring Zoro. It's like, do you have that big game hunter? And the answer is no.
All right, well, what do you do if you don't have that? The options are, and he's got a couple of turns to find a way to deal with all of this, but at least for the time being, it's just going to be how many Silverhand recruits can you put on the field, because you can't swing at all of them with the Void Terror.
Yeah, I mean, this leaves you open to a couple of options. Maybe you can get something like an equality, but yeah, Love in this position is never going to be attacking anything but the face.
Wow.
Consecrate's kind of okay. I mean, you do kill off this knife juggler and the doggy, so probably what we're going to see here. There's actually no way to kill off the Void Terror anyway, so...
Man, this still feels terrible because you know you're getting just closer and closer to your own untimely demise. And even if he does consecrate, he's still going to be, what, 2 away from lethal next turn just on board.
Yeah, and actually a very, very good play by Love. I mean, we're kind of taking it for granted, but, I mean, the much easier play in the prior turn would have been to go with Knife Juggler and Void Terror onto the 1/1, get a 4/4 that, you know, and you get a 4/4 and a 3/2. It's a little bit hard to deal with, but kudos to him for really taking a chance here, knowing that his opponent had a bigger hand than him and would eventually be able to, you know, kind of control the board if he didn't go for a risk here, and it's really, really paying off.
All right. Well, I guess the bigger risks, like you said, whenever you go for that super hardcore early game all in, things like Blood Knight, where you just get like 3 or 4 divine shields pop, and you're just like, hey, I've got a 24/24, and then it dies instantly. You've invested so much, and you just lose off of that. But on the off chance that your opponent can't deal with it, and that's a very important part of playing Hearthstone, is to force your opponent to have the answer at exactly specific times. If they do, then unfortunate. But if they don't, then you get these huge advantages.
And as we see here, Love is 1 damage off lethal. Pretty unfortunate, but
man.
probably going to go for it anyway. No real reason to do anything else. At the same time, Zoro still doesn't have a way to deal with this, so looks like, I mean, unless I'm missing something, Zoro is going to... Sorry, excuse me, Love is going to take game 1.
Yeah, I don't see any way around this. There's no equality. There's no way to clear the board remotely. And even if you did have equality, Nerubian Egg would still be there.
Well, you could have equality and then just leave the egg, I suppose.
Oh, yeah, that's true. I saw it. It was like, oh, it has 1 attack, but no, it's the wolf next to it. So.
Yeah, it's going to be... I mean, he's searching for an answer. He doesn't have lethal. And he can't kill this Void Terror without swinging into it, which unfortunately means you're dead. So, going to go for the Murloc Knight. I mean, I don't believe there's a taunt Murloc. If I remember correctly, there's charge Murlocs. But,
the good old Murloc totem. It's both a totem and a Murloc, and it has taunt.
I mean, old Murkai would. He's wishing that Collide Oracle actually drew cards for him, but yeah, the even old Murkai wouldn't have been able to clear that Void Terror, and Love takes game 1. Very, very good play there, I would say. Very solid play. And people were making fun of him earlier for, missing the play with the Murloc Knight when he didn't spawn the Murloc, but he's showing everyone now.
Yeah, definitely. And Zoro, at least comparatively between these two players, I always underrate Zoro. Like, I've always considered him as the underdog in whatever matchup he's in, and he always wins. So I don't know. I guess it's definitely not an accurate depiction of his skill. So we'll get a chance to see what he brings out here. It's going to be Paladin versus Warrior. And this is going to be the patron variety of Warrior.
Yeah, maybe Zoro is in a bad spot here because he's not actually the underdog in this matchup. Both of these players came from the lower bracket, other groups. Both players not really considered the strongest of this tournament, so maybe that's Zoro's weakness, is to play someone that is also similarly underestimated.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's like, as long as you're the underdog, you know that you've at least got that come up from behind surprise potential there. But without it, you just don't. So, yeah, Warrior versus Paladin. And considering the varieties of these decks, what's the play style going to look like here, D2?
What we're going to see from the Paladin is just to kind of rush the patron down as fast as he can, and make sure that the patron doesn't have the ability to get super huge combos off. And so basically put them in awkward positions, make them play defensively, and on the patron side, you kind of want to be patient and make sure that you don't blow all of your resources just trying to deal with your opponent's board, because that's when you can get in trouble. And if the Paladin can withstand the storm, then all of a sudden we're looking at a situation like a Druid versus Patron Warrior, where you're running out of threats as the Patron and you can't kill your opponent.
All right, so pretty decent board here for the Paladin player, and as far as Zoro's concerned, he's gotten up to strong starts every game. He just doesn't necessarily always keep them. Specifically, his last series versus Wei Xing, I want to say he was ahead in almost every one of his games, with the exception of the ones he lost where he just couldn't put anything out on board. So it bodes well, and he's going to be able to develop the board maybe just a little bit further here. I don't necessarily think that this is game-ending advantage, but it's still a very nice start for Zoro.
Yeah, pretty nice start, although he's going to get most of his board cleared up by this whirlwind. Unfortunately, gonna attack face actually. Guess we're gonna go for the double whirlwind, and this is a little bit what I'm talking about as far as maybe being a little bit wasteful with resources. Didn't really need to go for that, but at the same time he does clear most of his board and draw another card. So as long as he can pick up something like War Song and the Patron to get back board control, that's good. But yeah, at the moment Zoro he's taking it back again with his Monster for Battle.
Yeah, just swinging one time after another, just losing all that tempo, and now it's back in his hands. And more importantly, if he draws a Quartermaster this turn, he will be, I guess, very well rewarded. Now, there's no revenge. There's no what are we looking here for the play? It's turn 5, and I guess Armor Smith into. Well, I guess you could Armor Smith, but instead he's just going to go for the gnome.
Yeah, it looks like I'm a little bit ahead of you. The gnome was dropped a couple seconds earlier. So, yeah, look, this is what I was referring to as far as him being a little bit impatient. He went for the double whirlwind when he really didn't need to. All he cleared really was a 2-1, if you think about it, because he elected to attack face. He could have attacked maybe the Knife Juggler. And so, yeah, he drew cards, but bidding wishes he had that whirlwind right about now. And Zoro going to recognize that, and actually he's just gonna choose over. Oh, he's gonna choose over the Gnomish Inventor, I suppose. I was looking for him to maybe go with the Sludge Belcher. I guess he wants to play on curve and make sure he gets a dude out every single turn, especially because he has seen those whirlwinds already come out.
Yeah, that's how worthless Light's Justice is. It's just like, oh, what's that? You have 3 charges on it? Don't care. This weapon is just better. So. Still a board control there for Zoro. He's been in this position quite a bit this game. Still no more whirlwind effects, but the second Gnomish Inventor comes out. Just like Gnomish into Gnomish into Gnomish. Oh yeah, that's right. All right, so just the card gets drawn kind of right on time. You won't be able to both play it and get a hero power off. So maybe he wants to save it for next turn.
Yeah, maybe save it for the turn 8. If this ends up going to turn 10, he can actually hero power and then Justicar and then hero power again and get 3 dudes on the board, which would be kind of nice. In any case, just gonna go with the Sludge Belcher onto the board and attack that Armor Smith, so don't so that the Patron doesn't rack up too much armor, and then gonna attack the rest of the face and quite a bit of pressure. These 1/1s actually do pack a punch if there's 5 of them on the field.
Yeah, and it's not like they're going to, stop coming anytime soon. You're going to see Justicar True Heart out on the field next turn, and then more and more Silver Hand recruits. And eventually, at some point, something tells me Zoro may possibly have a Quartermaster in his deck, and unless there are more Whirlwind effects to come out, which you would expect to be pretty prevalent for the Patron Warrior, this board's going to get pretty crazy.
Yeah, so Zoro not happy to see Love top deck that Whirlwind, and then on top of that draw more cards with the Battle Rage. So all of a sudden this game is turned around quite a bit, but no more Whirlwinds on the side of Love, unless he's relying on things like either his last Deathbite or Unstable Ghouls, which means Zoro doesn't need to be worrying about dying anytime soon. On the other hand, there is the Grom on the other hand. But if we say anything like patrons hit the field, then he can take care of that relatively reasonably with the equality.
Yeah, and inequality is just a big way to deal with just about every threat in the deck. The only one that it doesn't take care of is the frothing charge. So always something to watch out for versus patron. So we have seen that be pretty nasty.
Yeah, and then maybe not so worried about that at the moment, just because he's seen 2 Whirlwinds gone. But I mean, nonetheless, he was in a pretty dominating position, and now he's seeing himself fall behind Probably going to see Knife Juggler, Quality into Knife Juggler into a couple of dudes here to go with this board. Maybe he could go with the Sludge Belcher, actually. But nah, just going to go with the dudes. Get as many knives out as possible. Killing the Warsong Command is very good. Killing off a patron, good as well. And yeah, probably the best results you can get there. Getting that Warsong off the table and killing one of the patrons.
Yeah, patrons will get equality. So for all intents and purposes, they are out of there. But at least for the
yeah, another set of Warsong patrons hits the field, and then
like until one day, all that changed. Yeah, what are those? You take care of one set of patrons, and the next set of patrons arise to take their place.
Yeah, and this is basically the nightmare. The reason why you see any top decks to consecrate. Not going to be too helpful now. I mean, it will spawn only one patron. You can get rid of most of this board. I think that might be actually the play. But yeah, I mean, this is one of the reasons why you see why people believe that patron is so heavily favored versus the paladin for moments like this when paladin has really nothing to do against these patrons. In the case, I guess I think we're probably going to see this this consecrate because there's 3. Oh no, he's just going to go for the hero power. Pretty risky, I would say. There's most likely a way to get to this half of the Sludge Belcher and then just play or just propagate with the rest of these patrons as well. So yeah, I don't totally agree with this play by Zoro. Probably needs to go ahead and consecrate there to make sure there's only one patron that could possibly propagate, but. Yeah, this is actually that's going to be lethal on the side of Love, and
wow.
Yeah, good play
I did
by
not
Love.
expect that many patrons, and that's what this deck looks like. I'm glad that patrons are just like these little dwarf dudes. If patrons were things like spiders, can you imagine those just like multiplying everywhere and hitting you in the face over and over again? I would actually die. So I am glad that they are dark dwarf dudes instead. Although I'm not very glad when it comes to patrons just in general.
You would rather have dark dwarf dudes running around? I don't know about that one. That's I'll take the spiders actually.
Yeah, no thanks actually. I feel like I'm in a slight majority as far as other people are concerned, possibly, but I don't know. I don't really get a chance or get a choice. It's still going to be patrons regardless of what I want. So here we go. We're going to see another little switch up as far as decks are concerned. This will be Paladin into Warlock.
Yeah, it looks like we're still getting some questions in chat as to whether this decides the qualifiers for Blizzcon. They have already been decided, actually, and these two players are the finalists. They are going to Blizzcon, and the people they defeated in the previous round are going to Blizzcon as well, just to answer the question for anyone still maybe straggling in, not knowing what's going on with these matches. So in any case, we are going to Game 3, and like we've said before countless times, don't count Zoro out. He has been down 0-2, been down 2-1, been down all kinds of scores, and he's found a way to make it here, so I would not be surprised in the least if he reverse sweeps this series, but at the moment he is in trouble.
Yeah, definitely kind of down for the count. We're going to see the mulligan, and again, these decks are kind of similar. They both just want to put tons of stuff out there on the board, although I guess that's much more of the Paladin thing to do. And, coincidentally, we're not seeing quite as many of those, mysterious challenger secret paladins towards the finals as we did in the group stage. So maybe an indication of the inconsistency of that deck. But I don't know. It's not necessarily terrible. It's just not the deck that's had the most success out of all of the paladin decks, right?
Yeah, fell a little bit flat. Looks like we're going to see an implosion here. Really not much else to do. Gets a 3, average results, so should be happy with that. Really does not want to see a consecrate here, though. And not one in hand at the moment. Let's see what the top deck is. Going to be a Lotheb. So yeah, no dice, but still going to be able to clear up most of this board and get a Shredder on the field. So good situation for Love, and Zoro feeling the pressure.
Definitely feeling the pressure. I have to think to myself, all right, so what are we looking for as far as things to accomplish for both sides? Theoretically, you want to get good value out of the Doom Caller or out of the Void Caller, and then For Paladin, you just really want to ramp up as far as your dude potential, but neither player really in quite the position to make either one of those things happen.
Well, Love does have a pretty good curve. He after the Shredder, he can either go Muscle for Battle Dude, or he can make a Loatheb pop out. So he's in a decent position. He even has the Aldor for anything that pops out of that Void Color. So not too sad about it. Looks like he's actually going to trade.
Oh, he's going to call the bluff too, and he wins the matchup there. He's not going to get any value, Zoro, off of his Void Collar. So a little bit lucky there.
Yeah, makes a bit of sense because he wanted, say, for instance, Zoro had a Doomguard in hand. He could trade off by himself and then get the charge in Doomguard and then get value out of the Doomguard maybe onto the Loatheb. So Love saying, okay, if it is a Doomguard, I'm not going to give you charge. I'm going to just Aldor that right away. You can have your Dude Killer, but I'm not going to have my Loatheb die anytime soon.
I still think Dude Killer is probably pretty good, but it can only swing once.
Yeah, Dude Killer not as frightening as Loatheb Killer, I would have to say. So
probably not. And speaking of dudes, here you go. 3 more on the field for Muster and another shielded mini-bot.
Yeah, it's extremely hard to deal with a board like this as a Zoo. They do not run AoE. When they run AoE, it just makes their early game that much more difficult to secure. And they're really looking to take the early game control rather than go for something like, clear the board all in one shot. So what are we going to see here? Probably going to, yeah, he's going to power whelming this. Actually, that I'm forgetting what it's even called. The guy that keeps growing, the mini Gruul.
Mini Gruul,
the micro machine.
Micro Machine. There we go. I was thinking about it because, man, I don't know about you. I used to play with Micro Machines so much when I was growing up. So
yeah, so basically I was actually wondering whether he was going to kill the Loatheb or the Micro Machine because that thing is scary. It looks like he's just going to end up owling it in the end. And Zoro, surprisingly, he's gotten the board back a bit, but here comes Dr. Boom.
Yeah, Dr. Boom, a fairly good way of getting the board back a bit, and Power Overwhelming will allow him to trade out the Nerubian, but that's not a good way to get back on board. Mal'Ganis, probably better to have a few turns earlier when that Voidwalker died, but all things considered, not a great place for Zoro to be in. If he loses this, then Love just takes the sweep.
Yeah, we had a 3-0 from Love in the previous round as well. Looks like Love is not going to play any more games.
Kicking it into high gear. Well, technically he's going to play these games, but yeah, you get the idea. Lots of try-harding from Love is definitely paying off. 3-0 and poised to make it another one.
Yep. We could say his favorite character is Sylvanas because he doesn't like playing games. No, okay. Anyway. I actually do not like this play whatsoever because he could have just played the Abuser Sergeant and Defender of Argus and ran into the Mal'Ganis as well, or sorry, the Dr. Boom as well, and still killed it. And now he doesn't get any value off of his Defender of Argus. It looks like he's just gonna pass. I think I'd rather have a 3-2 and a 2-3 on the board when you're facing down a lot of damage. But maybe Zoro's a little bit tired. I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt here.
Yeah, I can confirm tiredness. And keep in mind, it's not just tiredness from this day. These players have been here for 3 days playing this tournament.
Yeah, absolutely. So before you criticize these guys, you got to know that they've been pouring their heart out into these games, and can't really blame them too much for making a misplay here or there. And Void Terror is probably not going to do it. Doomguard can maybe kill something, but not going to matter. Whatever he kills, there's going to be enough damage. Could go for the Doomsayer play, I suppose, but even then the Boombots might kill him. So not looking too good for Zoro. He might actually concede here. His eye, there are bags under his eyes. He's shaking his head. Yeah, almost no way to get out of this situation. I guess, okay, his only way is to get the Doomsayer. The Boombots have to hit for less than 7, and then his Mal'Ganis has to carry him to victory, is how he wins this game. Sorry for the lag bit there, guys. Hopefully it's not too bad. And the Mal'Ganis goes away anyway.
Wow.
And Mini Trogzor, I forgot what the name is. Anyway,
Mini
Love
bot.
takes it. Oh, not anyway.
No, Micro Machine.
No, not that one.
Wait, which one are you talking about?
The 2/3 that grows when you play spells. I don't know. Anyway,
yeah, Mini Trogsor, there you go.
Doesn't matter. Love, he takes it. He is your Chinese champion. He takes on the $10,000 and the crown of Best Chinese Player 2015.